going live. We're going live. Are we live?
We are live.
Now here's the deal. I've got the reflection of lights all over the screen. Does that mean I've got lights all over me?
No, actually, you look great next to the tree.
Good, all right then. That works then, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to fiddle about. And we are early, so we're just playing around here. And we're live, right, Michelle?
Yes, we are live.
So, good morning, everybody. I am in New York City. I thought I'd position myself next to the tree. It's a great shame you can't all see the height of this tree because it goes way, 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 way up there. But the way I'm having to position the iPad so that we can get this looking okay, you're only going to see part of it. But hey, all right. So first of all, I'd like to say good morning to Gregel, who as always is by my right side. And then of course I'd also like to say good morning to Michelle in, where are you, Michelle?
I'm down in sunny Florida.
Yeah, it's 32 degrees here. It's freezing. I'm just going to play with this a bit. Tell me if you can see the tree a little bit better. Is that better? Is that better, Michelle, or no different?
Yep,
probably?
that looks great.
Okay, all right then. I just wanted you all to see the tree. It's beautifully decorated by my daughter, my grandson, and friends who were here for our Christmas tree trimming. So it was already done when I got here, but they saved me some Christmas ornaments to put on. We haven't gotten them put on yet though because it's been busy. We've been tired. My poor daughter and grandson are fighting colds like crazy. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. You know, Michelle, I'm keeping my fingers crossed because every single year I get on a plane, which I did this year. It was freezing on that plane, absolutely freezing. And eventually I said to the stewardess, could we please have the cold air less and a little bit of warm? Everybody on that plane was wearing their coats, their scarves, their hats, and then of course after that we have to come out into the 32-degree freezing cold weather of New York City. And so that's usually when I get sick. Keeping my fingers crossed. So far I've not gotten sick, but boy, if I dose myself up, I'm taking some what seem to be amazing Chinese herbs, and especially to boost your immune system. But every morning, of course, my grandson climbs into bed, he's snuffling, he's sneezing, he's coughing, his nose is running, and he's right in my face. So I don't know if I'm going to survive this year or excuse me, or not. But every single year I get sick, every single year I get pneumonia, then I get bronchial pneumonia, and you are kidding me, and somebody's at my door. Not expecting anybody. I'm going to can you hold this, keep talking, Michelle? Why don't you talk about all the questions, because I'm going to see who's at the door. Can you talk about the questions we've got?
So good morning, everybody. Do we have any great questions for Rosemary today? I had a couple emailed in. Molly, I did add you to the healing book already. Good morning, Peggy. Good morning, Leah. Good morning, Albertine. Hopefully you guys are staying nice and warm.
Okay. I'm back. Michelle, you'll never guess what. Santa just came to the door.
Was it your package?
It's my Christmas cake. Woohoo! It's my Christmas cake, all made and ready to be decorated. I'm quite surprised it wasn't supposed to be here until tomorrow, but I'll take it today. That's wonderful, so that's good. All right, I'm sorry, so if I keep looking, you see me looking over my shoulder, it's actually because I'm sitting on Michelle. She's on my phone, and so I'm sitting on her, and sort of, right, Michelle? And so, uh, all right, so why don't we start then, Michelle, with some of the email questions. We did decide to go a little bit earlier today because we do have quite a few questions that people have emailed in. So why don't we do a couple of those, and then if there is anybody there and anybody's got questions, you do know the rules, everyone, I hope. No questions, no me. So you have to participate. This is a show where we do audience participation. So, excuse me, so why don't we begin, Michelle? What have you got for me first off?
Okay, the first question that we got in was from Wendy.
Okay.
It's not from Wendy from class, it's a different Wendy.
Okay, yeah, okay.
This is hello, Rosemary.
Hi, Wendy.
She says, I have a question for you. I've been following you for quite some time and have learned a lot along the way.
Good.
My question is if in this life, if we have learned and believe about traveling to the spirit world, do we remember when our time comes? Do we realize what is happening? Because you've said so many times that people get stuck. But if we believe while we're on earth, will we remember what we know when our time comes to pass?
Okay, well that's a good question, Wendy. Here's the thing. I have talked about people getting stuck, but the percentage of people who actually, they don't get stuck, they just actually refuse to go. So they become stuck in their, I guess, in their fear, their nervousness, or sometimes it's purely stubbornness, whatever it is that stops us from moving forward. The percentage of those people is very, 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 very low. So, yes, I think most of us do know what's happening, because when our angels come for us, there's this immense sense of peace that just comes over us, and we are standing in a bright light. And anybody who has been living and breathing on this earth for more than 5 minutes knows that whether you believe it or not, we all know about that bright light. But what I try to say to my patients, people who know they're dying, but they're not sure, what can they do, how can they move forward, how can they help the process, I always say to my patients, if you just look for the light, ask for the light, ask to go towards the light and look for the light, it will be there and you'll see it, and it'll be the most amazing thing. So you can in fact help yourself by simply saying, where is that light? Let me out. That's where I want to go. And that's exactly. And thoughts are, remember, thoughts are living things. Thoughts are pure energy. And on those thoughts and on that energy, you will be carried exactly to that place where your family, your loved ones will be waiting for you. So, don't do it too soon. Don't ask to go to the light until it's time. And your angels will tell you anyway when it's the right time, and you'll simply know when it's the right time, because it will simply be just the right thing to do. Do we have another question? I like that question. Do you have another question?
The next question we have is from Dusty.
From who?
Dusty.
From Dusty. Good morning, Dusty.
Says, Dear Rosemary, I was an identical twin for 19 years of my life when my twin brother took his own life. I was wondering if suicide stops your ability to connect with people who have made this choice, and if not, is there a way for us to find answers from him from the other side? I've never reached out to anyone before, and I'm just feeling very alone.
All right, Dusty, darling. Well, all right. Let me first address suicide. We've talked about suicide before on previous shows, and Dusty, if you'd like to go back on these shows, which I think we've been doing now for about 2 years, you will see that we do talk about suicide on a few occasions. People will come on the show and ask a question about someone they know or someone they love who has taken their own life. Uh, the church, and whichever church that might be, and I use the term church loosely, so well, I should say there are many religions rather than many churches, but there are many religious beliefs that condemn suicide and claim that suicide is against God, and in fact, some religions, some churches refuse to allow a person who's taken their own life to be buried in consecrated ground. I was in Italy many years ago, and I was on a show, and there was a priest on this show. There were quite a group of people on this show. It was called the Costanza Show. And I was on this show, and there was a priest who came on who had his opinions about these things, and a huge audience of people there. And it happened for some reason or another that the topic turned into suicide, and there were many families and many people in the audience who had had a loss of someone in their family, or maybe their fiance or husband or what have you, or wife, who had lost someone due to suicide. All right, so amazingly, and again, some religions believe that if you do this, then you're nowhere. You're lost. You do not go to God. God will not accept you, so on and so forth. And we're given the impression then that these people sort of float in some sort of a hell or a no man's land or whatever. Now, I personally have spoken to more people who've taken their own life than I would care to, but many dozens, if not more than dozens of people in these circumstances, and I've spoken to their families too. And I can tell you that my experience, without a doubt, Dusty, there is no condemnation. When someone takes their own life, it's because they are desperate in some way. They are ill. They are not thinking clearly. They should not be condemned for being depressed, or one or two people actually do this for the sake of their family, for the sake of others, because they know that the trial of taking care of them is too much. There are lots of reasons why people do this thing, and not one of those reasons is a reason to condemn a soul from going to God. And it is my experience that that is exactly where they go. They go to their families exactly as they should, and God and our angels welcome them in the same way. They are helped, they are steered, they are guided, because again, they are not clearly thinking when they do these things. People who do these things are not thinking clearly. They can be so depressed, or they sometimes through anger, whatever it is, but their emotions sort of overwhelm them. And why on earth should we be condemned for that? And I think that God is a loving God and a caring God, and I think that he welcomes us with open arms. The more distressed we are, the more imperfect we are, the more he welcomes us and tries to help us through these things. Now, I think the second part of the question, Michelle, if I understand it, was how does she get in touch with him? Was that sort of part of the question? I'm not sure.
Yes, it would be how he would get in touch with him.
Yeah.
I'm going to send him some information.
Yeah, you can find someone like myself. You can. There are many ways to connect. You can go to church. You can ask a minister or a priest or someone to help you with it. There are lots of different ways that you can try to get in touch, Dusty. But caution. Not everybody is real. Not everybody is going to. You've got to be careful. Please be skeptical. Please be very skeptical when you're looking for someone who you want to do this for you, because so many people claim to have this gift and don't. We all know that, don't we? Just in the same way that you would be having a surgery, or the same way you would be having health treatment from a doctor, you don't just take it just because the doctor says so. Well, put it this way: you shouldn't take it just because the doctor says so. You shouldn't be having surgery just because the doctor says so. You should do your research, and you should be careful, and you should go and look at the different ways that you can make yourself whole. And in the same way, that's exactly what you should do when you come to see someone like me. Please, please, please be careful, and please make sure that their reputation is first class and that you get a recommendation. Let's have another question, Michelle. I don't know if do we have anyone on the show, anyone live on the show who wants a question?
We actually have quite a few people.
Good, yay, it's Christmas. I'm in New York City. It's Christmas next week, everybody. Yes?
We are having a little issue with your alarm system, though.
Oh, if you do hear beep beep beeping in the background, it's because this is a live show and Michelle's husband is right there trying to fix the smoke alarm. So ignore the beep beeping, and don't write and say we can hear beeping. What is it? It's nothing from the spirit world. It's simply just there. It is again. It's just my alarm going off. But there we are, it has to be fixed. Let's keep going, Michelle, shall we?
Kitty's question is, my
Morning,
daughter and I
Kitty.
were wondering, if a person is married more than one time, which is their husband in heaven?
Well, now this is very interesting because I'll tell you a little story, Kitty. I once had a client who came to see me, and she'd actually been married twice before, lost both husbands, and was now married for a third time. And one of her questions was, what am I going to do? I love them both in their different ways. I love them both. If I go before my husband, my now husband, who do I go to? And what if he dies, and then I've got three of them up there, then who do I go to? And as she was asking this question, I heard and saw two men laughing, and they were looking at each other, and I realized that I'd got both of her deceased, not that they were deceased, we don't believe in dying, do we? But I'd got both of her previous husbands who had met. The first one, of course, was watching over his wife, and of course had made sure that she got the right husband. So when the second husband popped his clogs, they became really good friends, and they were both there and both with her, and telling her, don't worry, because we'll all come and collect you. So there is no choice. You don't have to make a choice, and very often friendships are formed, and so all is well. So Kitty, if you want to go get married again, if you want to do all of that stuff again, don't be afraid to step out there and do it. All right, Michelle. Are you there? Did I lose you?
I muted you because it was going off like crazy. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, okay.
So now we have Mary. And Mary said, Mom and Dad are in heaven, and Christmas was wonderful. I'm sure they're helping to make Christmas wonderful from above. Is there any advice from them in the spirit world?
Well, Grey Eagle has his hand on my shoulder, which is always an indication that I'm going to give a message of some kind. So here's your message, Mary. From all of those in the spirit world to all of you who are listening, regardless of how difficult this time of year is for you, take a look at the children's faces. Just walking down the street in New York City, the kids are all wrapped up. They've all got their coats on. They've all got the scarves on. And the lights, the twinkling, the Christmas lights are twinkling, and everything here says Christmas right now. And the children, their eyes are bright and they are awed by what is going on. And no matter how awful we might feel, no matter how depressed we might feel, no matter how much we think, oh gosh, I wish Christmas would be over because I'm fed up with it, no matter what we are thinking and feeling, take a look at the joy and the awe that is on our children's faces and find the joy in Christmas. Oh well, we do. You know, this is the funny thing. We decided we'd go early today. We'd have an early. We've got the police. We've got the. This is my home in Florida. I'm really pleased that the police have turned up. You know, if you have an alarm system, you want to know that it's working, and apparently it is. So, do they want to come and say hello, Michelle? so, so. Yeah, so just please, you know, for if you can step out for 1 second or 1 minute, step outside of your own thoughts, your own feelings, as difficult as you might be thinking Christmas is, take a look at the faces of your children, the little ones, and you'll see it's honestly worth it. How are we doing, Michelle? Oh, I've lost her again.
Hold on just for a minute, Rosemary. I'm talking to the police department.
All right, do they need me for anything?
I asked him if he did, but he said he can hear you and you're good.
Oh,
So
good.
tell the story and I'll be right back.
Okay, there you are. You see, I've got to tell you a story. So let me think about a story. You know, there's one of my favorite Christmas stories is about the match, the little matchstick girl. And it's about a little girl who had no home and she was selling matches. She was very poor. She had no home, and all she did was press her nose up against the windows of the shops, and look inside and see the absolutely beautiful, all the Christmas stuff. And nobody was buying her matches. Now I'm probably making a real hash of this story, and it's a very sad story. The Little Matchstick Girl the story is based in Victorian England, where poverty in the 1800s, and early 1900s, poverty was abound. It was awful, it was dreadful. So many people were poor, so many people died through the winter months of colds, and I'm sure that we can tell that story in a lot of different countries. But the story of the little matchstick girl was that she was hungry, she was cold, and nobody wanted her matches. And basically, she ended up. She was so cold and shivering. She was trying to get warm from peering through the shop windows, looking at all the pretty lights and things. And she just eventually sat down and she went to sleep. And then a miracle happened. Her angels came for her, and she saw the light and the love of God. So, you know, it's a great story. There are so many Christmas stories. I've just told you a really, really sad, unhappy, miserable story, haven't I? But it's a beautiful story because even those of us who are desperate, who are lonely, who are by ourselves, at some point we will see the light of God and we will be embraced by that light and by the joy and the power of our Savior. When I was growing up, I can remember one of my very first memories was going to my church. I must have been about 3, and I can remember seeing this huge, great man sitting in the corner in a room in our church, and he was wearing a big red coat and red pants and black boots and a great big white beard. And I still have that memory. As I've said, I was probably about 3.5, very impressionable age. And I do not remember going up to him, but I do remember that he did have a sack full of parcels. And I remember standing there sort of gazing at him in awe. And this is why I think, you know, Christmas is for our children. It's also because we, you know, remember the birth of Christ. I do. You don't have to be a Christian, though, to enjoy Christmas and the thought behind Christmas, because that's what it's all about, the thought and the love that is behind Christmas is what's important to all of us. And I think that, I really do, my heart goes out to those of you who are sad this year, who are lonely this year, who are missing your loved ones perhaps who have passed this year. But again, and I'm going to say again, we can, if we just step out of our own selves for a moment, even if it's only 1 or 2 moments in a day, we can make it better by looking at the joy and the love that Christ brought to us, and the joy and the love that shines from our children's eyes. My grandson this morning went to school. He was wrapped up. He had a big black coat on. He wore Mosey's sweater today, which means his mum said to him, I think let's wear a Mosey sweater today, which means one that I knitted for him. And he loves it. It's a nice, big, thick, black, chunky thing that he can sort of keep warm in. So we put that on him this morning, and off he went. But the smile on his face was beaming, because it's very Christmassy in this house. Samantha's got lights everywhere. She's got a little village with all lights and candles. I wish I could show it to you, but I'm not going to. And it's sort of so joyful and wonderful. And this morning, you'll never guess what happened this morning. The elf on the shelf. Now we have Alpha Elf, and we found him this morning sitting on the edge of the wash basin in the bathroom. He was sitting there, and he had it was like a straw that he was using as a fishing rod. And there were all of these fishes, little fishes, in the wash basin. Of course, there were the edible kind. And on the end of this sort of straw that he used as a fishing rod hung a little fish tied in, and he was fishing. And there was a sign next to him which said, "Gone fishing." When my grandson saw that, and I was actually in the bathroom when he came in and he saw it, his eyes went wide, 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 and he went running to his mama, and he was just so joyful that Alpha was fishing in our bathroom. Are you there yet, Michelle?
Yes, we're back.
Okay.
It was a beautiful story you just told me.
Yes, well, we did actually. Grown-ups can, on occasions, only if it's necessary, grown-ups can actually pick up their elves, but very carefully, but only if they need to move them. Now he's sitting on the windowsill. He still has his rod and this fish on the end of it, which I might have had something to do with. My daughter and I were laughing about it. And he has this big sign which says "Gone fishing," and we played there's a I think it's Bing Crosby and whoever else it is singing the song "Gone Fishing," and we played that this morning, and Reese couldn't get enough of it. He played it 3 or 4 times until we had to say stop. Let's have another question. Let's go back to the questions. Okay, Michelle.
Okay, well, I have a comment from Lori. She has said she had a great dream visit with her dad, and that he's still wearing his favorite ugly shirt.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Albertine said,
Morning, Albertine.
Rosemary, I wish you and your family and Michelle have a good and healthy and happy new year.
And right back at you, darling.
Wendy's on. She says, love your top, Rosemary, and the tree looks beautiful.
Oh, okay.
If you can, please say a word or two to help people who get very down this Christmas, which you just did. I miss my family so much. Can't ever seem to get past it.
Well, I think I mentioned, look, you know, nobody here is saying to you, get over it. I'm certainly not saying to anyone, and never say to anyone, don't, oh, come on, you've been grieving now long enough, get over it. No, you're always going to grieve for your loved ones, and at special times, birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas if you celebrate it, all of those special times, special, moments in our lives. Of course, I think about my daddy all the time. At times like this, we didn't especially have, well, as kids we had great Christmases, but there was a lot going on in our family. When we got older, we realized all the tension and all the stuff that was in that time. But you don't get over ever those that you love who you have lost, but you do if you're sensible and if you're not sort of wallowing in self-pity all the time, because let's face it, we can all do that, can't we? I'm good at it. But as you know, as long as you can get out of that self-pitying poor me mode, yes, of course you miss them, and of course you're sad, and of course you won't get over them, and don't try to get over it. But again, find the joy every day. Find something to be joyful about. Look to the world, look to the children. I was at the airport, and I was actually with Michelle at the airport. Remember, Michelle? There were these school kids.
Oh, the orchestra.
There was an orchestra playing Christmas music, and we sat there singing away. And I mean, there is always something going on that you can find to smile about. And so, as much in despair as you feel sometimes, and as much in despair as uh, you know, we're grieving, of course we are. I mean, my father died, he died over 30, 40, almost 40 years ago. I'm still grieving. Of course I am. You never get over it. Don't try to get over it, but learn to live with it. Tuck it in the back there. My memories of my father, if I go on to the negative, are not so good. If I go to the positive, they're fabulous. I have fabulous memories walking in the woods in Germany when I was 6 years old, deep in the snow, and gazing up, 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 up into the trees, and seeing the sun through the trees and being completely overawed by all of that sunlight that was shining through the trees. There's always something that you can find that you can be joyful about, but only if you want to be joyful. However, if you are the kind of person and you just want to be miserable, there's not a lot anybody can do for you, is there? Be miserable by all means, but don't make a habit of it, and don't make it all day long. Just find the joy. Find the joy. Look outside of yourself and find the joy, because truthfully, honestly and truthfully, it's everywhere. It really is. Michelle, let's have another question.
Okay, we actually have a question from my biker friend Dean.
Oh, good morning, Dean. Merry Christmas.
It's Dean from
I'm so disappointed in Dean this year, I have to say, because he didn't make my Christmas cake, and I've made
No, but he
two.
sent you some funny decorations for it.
Oh, Michelle, I made a Christmas cake for Michelle, and did you get my photos, Michelle? I sent you some photos.
I
Uh,
did. It was right when I was working.
Oh, okay. So I sent Michelle. I decorated Michelle's Christmas cake differently than I'm going to decorate my own. And this weekend we're going to be Reese and I are going to be decorating the cake, and we're going to be videoing it again. But if you want to go on YouTube to Rosemary Altea's kitchen, you can see me decorating the cake with Reese last year. But we're going to do it again this year because it is a tradition. We decorate the cake. We make a village, but with Michelle's cake, it's the same inside. It's all good stuff inside, but uh, I covered it with marzipan, as I do, homemade marzipan. Was it good, Michelle? We ate some of it, didn't we?
The marzipan was delicious.
Yeah, we didn't eat the cake. We ate some of the marzipan that was left over, and I made a sort of like a parcel of the cake. So what we're going to do is, Michelle, if you could look at those photos, we're going to put them up on Instagram. We're going to put them up on Facebook. Why not? It's just another and a different way of decorating your Christmas cake. So we've also got a beach cake, which is the Christmas cake, but it's a beach cake. It looks like it's somebody on the beach with two fat old ladies, my sister and myself, sitting in deck chairs. The fat old ladies are made from marzipan also. You do lots and lots of things, for Christmas to make fun, to have fun at Christmas. I don't know where I'm going with this, Michelle. Help me out. Let's go to the next question, shall we?
Okay. Dean would like to know if you or Gray Eagle know anything about Merkabahs.
How are you spelling it?
Merkabahs.
B-A bash? Merkbash? No, never heard of
Yeah.
it. Don't know what it means.
Says it was
Dean,
thought to be a divine light vehicle that transported people from one dimension to another.
no.
Do you know anything about it?
No, you don't need a vehicle. You move. You are able to, initially we are carried by our angels, but we have our own energy. We do not need a bus, a train, a car. We do not need anything to move about. Trust me, I have traveled. I have astral traveled for years and years, and never ever once have I stepped inside a vehicle to do it. Except, of course, my etheric body, which is the vehicle that my soul uses. So let's have no more of this stuff. I think people just like to make things up as they go along, honestly. So, but thank you, Dean, because it was an interesting one, and it was great for me to be able to then say, no, 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 no. We are energy. Just remember that. We are beings of energy, and we are beings of light, and we are able to travel back and forth and back and forth. Not with our physical body, but certainly with our etheric body, the same shape, the same size as we are, however, whole and undamaged. So, okay, let's move on to our, thank you, Dean. Let's move on to our next question, shall we?
Peggy said today is her dad's birthday and he passed in July and she's very sad.
Oh, Peggy, this is the first year is always the worst for all of us. The first Christmas without the first anniversary, without the first birthday, without so on and so forth. So it's a very tough time, and my heart goes out to you, darling, because I know that it's a struggle. However, please, please be assured he'll be around, and he'll be there, I'm sure, helping you with Christmas. But it's a tough time. As I've said earlier on, I'm not telling anyone to not grieve, because that's part of the process of acceptance and part of the process of understanding that even though we lose someone, we will see them again. And just keep that in your mind, Peggy, as you go about your day and as you go about the Christmas season. Next question.
All right. The next are a couple comments. They said that we're having quite the exciting show today.
Really?
And that the spirits are having fun with us with the problems with the alarm.
Oh, I see. Yeah, right. I want to know what the policeman said.
Well, I opened the door and he goes, "Are you guys okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're in the middle of doing a show on YouTube."
Oh, well, it was good of them to come. Okay.
I guess he got a hold-up alarm from your alarm.
All right.
And that's why he was here.
It's good to know it works. Very good to know it works. Okay, let's have another question.
Here's Sharon had made a comment to Wendy when Wendy was saying that she felt at a loss for her family.
Yeah.
She said, instead of mourning our loss, it's time to celebrate and be grateful for what we have with them in our lives.
Well, Sharon, I think that is a great comment, but I also know it's easier said than done when you are deep in your depression. Yes, of course, it's time to celebrate, but if you just lost someone, it's very hard to celebrate and to find the joy, which is why I'm saying, find the joy in the little things. Take a look at children's faces, step outside of yourself, even if it's only just for a moment. Step outside of yourself. You can be sad for most of the day, but do find some moments. That noise, by the way, is my daughter's central heating system. But anyway, we've got gremlins today. So do please find those moments in the day. Thank you, Sharon, for that. Easier said than done, but if we try and if we strive and if we are determined, we can find those moments of joy. Let's have another question, shall we, or a comment?
Okay, Christina is on.
Morning, Christina.
And she said, when my father passed away, he left behind lots of unfinished projects that he was working on.
Well then.
I just want to know if he can still find peace even
Well, it happens that I know Christina's father, and it happens that I can assure you, Christina, that he's just glad not to have to do those projects anymore and to leave them to other people to do. And he's laughing as he says it, so don't worry about that. All right, next question, Michelle.
Kitty wants to know if there's class tonight.
Uh, oh, I never even thought about it. Of course, there's class tonight. Yes, there is. But it might be a little difficult to find those moments. But yes, as far as unless for any reason uh, the weather kicks in and my stuff isn't working properly, there's no reason why we shouldn't have class tonight, Kitty. But thank you for asking. So get down and do that homework because I'm going to be tough on you. Oh, I love being tough on my students. Go for it. Next question or comment, Michelle.
Deborah is on,
Morning, Deborah.
and she said, my best friend passed a few years ago, and I felt very lost without her, as she was always gave me the words of wisdom. Does she have any messages for me going into the new year?
Not right now. Um, but I'm sure she's with you, darling. But not, no, not right now. I've got the central heating system in the background, right in this ear. So it's hard. It would be hard to listen anyway. Let's move on, Michelle.
Sharon would like to know if Gray Eagle enjoys the holiday season, and do our loved ones in the spirit world celebrate holidays and events?
I'm asking, just so you know, I'm not just going to spit out what I think. I'm asking him this particular question, and his answer is this: those in the spirit world rely on you or us, all of us who are still here. Um, for instance, I'm happy when my daughter's happy. I'm happy when my grandson is happy. If they are unhappy, so am I. It works exactly the same way. If we are celebrating, they are celebrating. If we're finding joy, even if it's only in that moment, they are finding joy for us, that we're able to find that joy. So, a lot of what they're feeling and thinking, those in the spirit world who we love and who we care about, a lot of what they're thinking and feeling depends on what we're thinking and what we're feeling too. So you know yourself, if you're a caring and a loving mother or a loving father, or if you're a loving brother or sister, whatever it is, you know that if someone in your family is unhappy, then that makes you unhappy too. It doesn't stop you necessarily celebrating, and it doesn't stop you finding the joy. So it's really the same whether you're here or whether you are wherever else that might be. Let's have another question, Michelle.
Dean says he's gotten far too much overweight to have Christmas cake this year.
Excuses, excuses. Because, Dean, like me, I make my Christmas cake for other people. I do love it, but I don't eat much of it. But I make it because I like to give it out. And Michelle, when are you going to have my Christmas cake? You're going to put it on the Christmas table for your
Yeah,
Christmas?
but it's New Year's Eve is when we're doing our Christmas.
Okay.
So
So,
that's when all the kids will be here.
and that cake is going to be part of the central dessert stuff, right?
Yes.
Good. I hope it takes pride of place because, boy, I never make Christmas cake for anybody else. My daughter was quite shocked. She said, "You never make Christmas cake for anyone else. That's our Christmas cake. That's for our family." She was laughing when she said it, but still. And when I told my grandson, I showed my grandson before I left. Before I left Florida, I was talking to Reese, and I said to him, "Would you like to see this cake, this Christmas cake decorated?" And he sort of stood, sure, but Mosey, but we always decorate it here. And I said, "Darling, it's not for us, it's for someone else." And he was fine by that, and he did like the decoration on it. But we're going
It's a
to.
beautiful red and green bow.
Thank you. It is pretty, right? All right. We'll send you pictures. So keep looking at Facebook, keep looking at wherever it is. We're going to send you pictures. All right. Next question, Michelle, or
Peggy
comment.
said, Peggy just wanted to say thank you. She just wanted to acknowledge the day.
Oh, and I perfectly understand it. And of course, they're listening. So, uh, next next one. Do we have any more?
Yes, Molly is asking, why do I fight with my spirit guide?
Good morning, Molly. I have no idea why you fight with your spirit guide. I'm going to. Hmm. Well, I have very different views on spirit guides than most people do. I would say I would never personally ever dream of fighting with Grey Eagle. I might be, unhappy sometimes with what he says, or I might not understand always why he's telling me different things or suggesting different things, or why he's guiding me to do one thing or another. Uh, I would never be so disrespectful as to fight with him. And he's smiling at me. He would never be so disrespectful to fight with me either. So, Molly, maybe you should take a little look and see, is your spirit guide a highly evolved spiritual being, or just as important, is your spirit guide that one person who loves you in your family, in the spirit world, who is guiding and steering you, who you have fought with before, and well, when they were on this earth and you've gotten into that little habit of it? I would question what you're doing, my love. Next question.
Um, Actually, it's kind of a confusing one for me. Um, Janet is on.
Good morning, Janet.
Says, Rosemary, it's Janet X. Why are you not passing my comment on? But I didn't get a comment from her.
No, but
so if
she,
she wants to
yeah.
elaborate, I would be glad to.
No, I totally know what she means. Well, let me see. I let me say that it's in hand, and you need to just be patient. And I'm coming to England this year, and so after Christmas, after the New Year, I'm going to be addressing these things. I'm not forgotten you, my darling. And if it's really really urgent, just let me know. But sometimes the things that we think are really really urgent do have a way of panning out. So don't worry, I've not forgotten you. And just be patient with me. And if I haven't spoken to you, which I haven't, if I haven't addressed the issues, it's because there's no need right now to address them, because you know perfectly well, because we've known each other for an enormously long time, and you've had some really really amazing experiences. You know as well as I do that you get what you need when you need it most. You don't always get what you want, but you always get what you need. So to keep, just hold on, darling. I'll be there. I'm coming. Michelle.
I'm adding Vera and her husband to the healing page.
Who? Vera?
Vera and her husband. She's sick and her husband's in the hospital.
Oh dear. Well, we definitely will be sending you healing. Absolutely. We did not do our healing hands around the world yesterday because well, I was on a plane and then I was traveling, and there we are sometimes. And I shan't be doing it next week either because it's Christmas. We also won't be doing this show next week because it's Christmas, but we definitely will be doing it the week after. So we're taking a break. I know you all want to take a break. You don't want to see me at your Christmas table, do you? Really? Do you really? Okay. Next question, Michelle.
Christina said, I'm so glad my daddy is laughing. I hope he's happy and having a great time with all my past family.
Oh, you know it. You know it.
She says, love you, Dad. Janet says, okay, steady on the long time, not that old.
Okay. All right.
And then Vicky is on, and she's acknowledging an anniversary of a past.
Good,
also.
good morning, Vicky. Yes, look, you know, it's a tough time, isn't it? And whether it's Christmas or whatever time of year it is, of course we acknowledge. I mean, I actually acknowledge when when my puppies have gone, and Samantha had through the mail yesterday. A box came and she looked at me and she said, "I'm going to cry." And I said, "Why? What's in the box?" And she pulled it out, and she and Reese had designed a Christmas ornament to put on the tree. And those of you who've been listening carefully know that 2 weeks ago my daughter lost her 14-year-old best friend, Piper, and she and my daughter and Reese have been having a tough time of it. But it was a beautiful ornament. Uh, a photo of my daughter with Piper, a photo with Reese and Piper, and so on and so forth. It was a gorgeous ornament, and she didn't cry as much as she thought, but she felt extremely sad. But we're going to put that ornament on the tree. We also have a stocking for Piper as well, because this is our first Christmas. Again, we're finding the ways to deal with it. We're finding ways to find joy, and we're doing those things as much because we have Reese, who's only 6 years old, and he misses his puppy. So we're finding ways to live through it, to get on with our lives while still grieving, and it's perfectly acceptable to grieve. I had a conversation with Reese yesterday. I know that parents and fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters and children, I know I'm not comparing puppies to other types of loss, but still, it's the premise is the same. The idea is the same. We find ways to deal with things and to make things work for us. By all means celebrate, by all means acknowledge, and by all means find the joy in the knowledge that you haven't lost them, that one day you will see them again, and in the meantime they're keeping an eye on you. Michelle.
All right. Well, Vicky's next comment was if you had any words of encouragement to deal with the passing of her son, Connor. But I think we just handled that.
Yeah, the worst, the Vicky, you probably heard me say it before. Everyone's heard me say it before. I personally believe that the worst kind of loss is the loss of a child. You cannot compare it to anything else. I'm speaking as a mother. I'm speaking as a parent. I'm speaking as a person who knows what it's like to receive the love of a child and to know what it's like to give the love of a mother. So I know that for those of you who have lost a child, you don't don't worry about crying in front of other people. By all means, do it. Don't worry about showing your grief. Do not worry if you want to indulge in that grief. Of course you do. Why wouldn't you? But also, as you're doing that, do you remember his smile, Vicky? Find the joy in that. Do you remember his twinkling eyes? Do you remember the mischief sometimes? There you are. Find the joy in that, my darling. Because he's still who he was, and he's still with you. And not in the way you want, I know, but he is still there. Michelle.
All right. Our next one is Missy.
Morning, Missy. We've got a whole bunch of people on today.
We've had a pretty good stream of people.
Good.
She says, my twin brother died at 30 and I'm now 33.
Oh.
I miss him very much. Does he approve of who I'm dating and does he have any advice for me on what I should be doing with my life?
The advice, here you go. I'm not sure you're going to like this. You have so much to give and so much to do. Please get off your butt and do it. That's his advice. And, as far as relationships go, just love. Just don't be afraid to show your love. Don't be afraid to show the affection. He says, don't be like me, holding back. Just move forward, do everything you possibly can to make that relationship work. If it fails at the end, it fails at the end, but it doesn't have a chance if you don't give it your all. Next question, Michelle, or comment?
Deborah said that she's had a lot of spiritual activity in her home for 30 years. She said, I live in the woods and recently discovered a very old gravestone on my property. Could that be the connection with the activity in my home?
It would be, I was going to say, it would be hard to say, but Gregor has a different opinion. So no, the activity in your house is from your family, from your loved ones, which is great, actually. Really great. Wow, are you lucky? All right, next one.
All right.
See, I was just about to say, I have no idea, but then thank goodness Gregor has other plans. Yeah.
Yes. Vera said, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Sharon has a Christmas funny.
Oh, good. We can always laugh. Yes, go ahead.
He said, Christmas story. The composer of Silver Bells almost named it Tinkle Bells until his wife told him that tinkle means to pee. How's that for a Christmas laugh?
Yes. I don't think it's a common American phrase, is it, Michelle, would you say? I need to tinkle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay. I need to tinkle. Okay. Yeah. Jingle is much better. It wouldn't be jingle bells if it was tinkle bells, would it? It doesn't sound the same anyway. I like that story. I do like that story. Are we going to sing a Christmas song again, Michelle, today?
I guess if you want to.
I can't think of one. I cannot off the top of my head. Anybody got any suggestions? We'll take them.
But we don't have to sing if they don't want to hear us.
Yeah, we really don't have to sing if you don't want to hear us. No, we don't. Let's have another question.
Vicky said, thank you very much, Rosemary. It's why I love you. You speak with such tenderness in your voice whenever I ask a question. Blessings.
Well, I'm a very tender and a very gentle person, but don't be fooled, because I can be tough too. Although when I'm tough, I do like to, the saying, what is it? The iron fist in the velvet glove. That can be me. Okay, well, thank you for saying that. All right, next.
Lori said that she must have naughty elves in her house because she's been having a terrible time with the Afghan she's trying to knit.
Oh well, I can't help you there. I'm actually knitting, and in fact, would you like to see what I'm knitting, everyone? Let me just going to grab this. Of course, I should have finished this before I got here, but I've not finished it. It's still in pieces. I've got half a sleeve to do, but this is, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? This is the front of the sweater. I was just checking. This is for my grandson. He's just growing and growing, but isn't that pretty? Isn't that a pretty colour, everyone? I don't know if you can see that, Michelle, how pretty it is. And of course the cable work and everything. I like to make my own designs, and I like to sort of, I like to knit him at least 2 or 3 sweaters every year, but hey, this is the first one, and as I've said, it's Christmas and it's not finished yet. I usually wrap it in paper and give it to him, but this year I think it's just a question of, here, put this on. Oh well, sorry I can't help you with the Afghan, my dear. Let's have another question or a comment, Michelle.
Miss is also requesting healing for her boyfriend.
Of course.
Who has chronic pancreatitis.
Oh, nasty. That can be very painful. Yeah, okay.
Missy, if you could just give us his first name, I'll put him right onto the healing page.
Great.
Chris is on.
Morning, Chris.
She wants to know, did you find any angel flight attendants this trip?
Did I? No, actually. The flight was so cold, and when I said to the very nice, very lovely girl, can you please bung the heating up a bit? Because literally everyone was sitting with, heavy coats and scarves and so on. She said, well, here's the thing, she said, If I turn it up, she said it gets warm here. I was sort of like not at the very front, not in first class, but sitting back a bit. And I know some of you'll be in awe that I'm not sitting first class all the time. But anyway, and she said, well, the thing is, she said, that if I turn it up, it means the people in front are too hot. And I'm thinking, yeah, the people paying first class. And I said to her, well, can't they take their coats off? It's like, because the rest of us are freezing. But no, so no angels, Chris, sorry, no, not a one. And there you have it. It was a pretty ordinary, although I did have a lovely taxi driver who I forget now where he told me he was from. But he was really lovely, and he was talking about how he loved New York, and how he was with his new wife of 3 years, and that they were very happy living here, and so on. We had a very nice conversation on the way to my daughter's home. So, next question, Michelle.
All right. The next one is from Peggy, and she said, "I recently got your Angels in Training book, and I'm working through it weekly, and I'm enjoying the process. Thank
Oh,
you."
Peggy, good girl. Well done. I love that book. It's such a great book. We sort of try to help our angels. Of course, when you're not really an angel in training, but my theory is this, that our angels have so much to do. They have so much work to do in this life. So wouldn't it be nice for those of us who would like to help, who would like to become more spiritually involved, and who would like to become more spiritually aware, to help our angels in some way, and to take on some of the tasks that perhaps our angels might not have time for. So there, it's a little book. I don't know how much is it, Michelle. I can't remember. It's not that expensive, but it gives an angel action for every single week, and those angel actions can really open you up, and really, make you help you to become much more aware of what is going on. And of course, it's the time of the year. The book is called Angels in Training. My daughter helped me to write it. I think her name is on the book with mine. So go for it. Just Peggy, go for it. Anyone else who'd like to know some of those exercises, by all means. I'm going to give one to my students tonight, because after all, it is Christmas, isn't it? Right, Michelle.
Okay, so the next one we have is, oh, Peggy said that's a beautiful sweater.
Oh, thank you.
Janet says, "Love you, XX." Lori says, "Mine has cables in it to the Afghan."
Oh, okay.
Sharon said he must have outgrown his red sweater from last year, so it's time for a new one.
He hasn't quite outgrown it, but well, it's a bit short. So, yeah, I think so. But yeah, he's growing so fast, so very, very fast. And I want to mention that Janet, just so we all know, you've heard Janet making one little comment after another. Janet might be one of my very first clients ever, ever. We go back years and years and years and years, and we have a great relationship. I don't see her very often, but there we are. But I love you too, Janet. Let's have another question, shall we?
All right, the next comment we have is from Kevin.
Morning,
And it
Kevin.
says,
How are
"Thank you for
you? Is this
developing."
is this Kevin in Hawaii?
It is Kevin in Hawaii. I'm sure his weather is much prettier
I was
than
going to
ours
say,
right now.
I bet it's warmer in Hawaii than it is in New York City. But hey, a lot of people like the cold. But a lot of people say, "Oh, couldn't possibly live in Florida. It's far too hot." But we love it, don't we, Michelle?
We sure do, because we don't get snow.
No, yay! We got snow last night here. I woke up this morning and I looked out of the window, and there's snow and snow. There we are. Ugh. So, next
Yeah, I
question,
saw you
Michelle.
got a squall warning last night.
Yeah, yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Where's Kevin's question? Does he have a question or a comment?
It's just a comment. It says, "Thank you for developing and sharing your abilities all these years. Merry Christmas."
Oh, Merry Christmas, Kevin. Thank you to all of you. I've had cards from people I don't even know, and I'm thinking, who's this person? And Michelle have to look and say, oh yeah, that's so and so. Yeah, and that's so and so and so and so. So to all of you out there who have been thoughtful enough to either email me or send cards or whatever, Merry Christmas to all of you. And thank you, thank you, thank you. And not just to those of you who've sent something to me or sent me good wishes, but to all of you out there. But Michelle, moving on.
Christina said, Merry Christmas to you all and to Great Eagle. Have a very safe and blessed one. My dad passed on the first of the month, and I'm going to enjoy Christmas to the fullest because he loved Christmas.
Good girl. Well done. That's brilliant. Thank you for that. That's, you see, you got to find the joy, and it's hard. Nobody's saying it's easy. You know, I have this saying I tell my students, it's easy when it's easy, and I tell my daughter and I tell my grandson, it's easy when it's easy. It's not so easy when it's hard. But that doesn't mean, though, that it's not impossible. So it's easy when it's easy. It's not so easy when it's hard. Next.
Actually, that is all the comments and questions we have for today.
Okay, what time is it? Are we?
It is 11:49.
Oh, well, I think we should
It's
just.
Florida.
I think we should just sort of go a little bit. We'll give people a time for any more questions or comments, but nobody else for a Christmas song. Is that right, Michelle?
No, I'm kind of thankful.
Why is that? You think I'm going to make you sing?
You normally make me sing with you.
Oh dear, well we can't have that. I was
Make me sing with you, but you like it when I sing with you.
I do. I was every day Reese comes home from school and the first thing he says is Alexa play, or hope it's not listening to me, play Christmas music. You know, isn't it amazing the technology that we have today, that we can just click our fingers? And I tell you what also is absolutely amazing. I had one of these doorbells fitted. Now, if you've been hearing this beautiful sort of, it's like a tinkling bell-like sound, that tells me when there's motion outside my front door, because this doorbell is like really great as a great deterrent actually for people who you know, shouldn't be at my door. So every time there's motion, that little thing goes tinkle, tinkle there. But it was very Christmassy, don't you think, Michelle, that sound? Have I lost you there?
What was that, my dear?
I said the tinkling of the doorbell, it's very Christmassy. And very sort of...
Mary Lou is here.
Oh, what?
She got a call from the alarm company.
Oh, no, really? Come on the show. This is my lovely friend in Florida.
I'm actually home working today, and I got a call from ADT, but I was on another line when I got the call.
Oh.
Came over to States.
Oh well, you see, everybody is protecting my home, and everybody's. Mary Lou, guess what? I don't yet have a cold. I'm very slightly snuffly and sniffly, but I've got a nasal spray. I'm taking ginseng and royal jelly. I'm taking some herbal concoction, Chinese. It seems to be working. I was in bed this morning with two very sick people. The little one likes to. The little one lies away, likes to climb in the middle. And it's hard not to be able to hold him and kiss him and snuggle him and all the rest of it. And I've been sort of, these germs have been around me. So far, so good. Keeping my fingers crossed, because last year my Christmas was spent at home, coughing and spluttering and being really, really sick. So I'm hoping that this year it's going to be a great great Christmas for me and for the family. I'm hoping that Reese gets over his cold really, really soon. But I know all of my friends are worried because every year, right, Mary Lou? Every single year I get bronchitis, pneumonia, you name it, and it's awful. So far, so good. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So
Give them hugs from me.
thank you, thank you, thank you for coming over. Thank you for protecting my house. Do we have any other comments, Michelle? Anything else going on? I can see one or two things
Twiggy.
popping up. Morning, Twiggy.
Twiggy Leaf said, I was wondering if there's anything in particular I could do for my twin for Christmas. Is there something she would like me to do or do for her or with her?
Yes, without a doubt. Of course, I don't know if you have snow where you are, Twiggy, but for some reason or another, a snowball fight sounds like a good plan. And just to enjoy, and stop being so down about yourself. I don't know where that's come from, but stop being so down about you and just learn to love yourself and to accept who you are and to find a joy in life. I must have said that so many times this morning, right, Michelle? Find the joy in life.
It's just one of those days. Everybody's having a hard time with the holidays.
I know, but you know, it is tough. It really is tough. But
okay, they want you to sing a song.
Anybody
they
got?
didn't include me in it, so you're on your own.
I don't think so. Any questions? Any requests?
They didn't have any requests. Peggy said, please let Samantha know that I'm enjoying the book also, that she didn't mean to leave her out.
Oh, no, that's all right. She won't mind one little bit. I can't think of a Christmas carol. How could I?
Said, how about a Christmas song from your childhood, maybe Oranges and Lemons?
That's not a Christmas song. That's a. How does he know that? That's an old Victorian song. No, it's a very macabre reason why we used to sing Oranges and Lemons. It's about chopping the heads off of people who have been, naughty or criminals. Again, that's an old Victorian thing.
That doesn't sound very Christmassy.
It's not at all Christmassy. I'm not.
Sharon said that she's loving reading A Walk in the Clouds, that she hopes everyone reads it.
Oh, good. It is a nice book. Thank you, Sharon, for that. All right, I'm going to sing you a song which is not a Christmas song. I might have sung this song before. It's not a Christmas song, but it is about children. So that works, right? A little boy and a little girl in an ecstasy of bliss. This is a very, very old English song. Most English people don't know this song. Said the little boy to the little girl, pray give me just one kiss. The girl drew back in great surprise. You're a stranger, sir, said she, and I will give you just one kiss when the apples grow on the lilac tree. Have you heard this one, Michelle? The boy was very sad at heart. She was the only one. The girl was quite remorseful at the terrible thing she had done. So bright and early on the very next morn, he was quite surprised to see his little sweetheart standing in the garden, tying apples to a lilac tree. That's a cute song. It's about children. That's it.
That's very cute. I liked it.
Did you? Good. I've got others. There's
He says, what about he says, ha ha ha, the song is also about bells.
Oh, very funny, yeah. The Bow Bells of London, yes. We're moving on, Dean. I am not singing that song for Christmas. It's a macabre song, and I sang my song for today. It's not a Christmas song, but it's about a little boy and a little girl, so it's about children, so that'll do, right? Any other questions, any other comments, Michelle, before we end our Christmas
show? Had a question.
Yes, Vera.
Can spirit travel anywhere they want all over the world?
Yes, absolutely. There are no boundaries, and we travel at the speed of light, and any one of you who knows about anything scientific can understand that, because we are pure energy, and the speed of light has to do with energy. So we can move very fast through time and space, and we can visit, if you've got loved ones in another country, you can go visit them. There are no restrictions, no time limits, no bus conductors, nobody having to drive the train, and and but our angels are there to protect us, of course, as we travel. That's a good question. Thank you. Next, anything else? Any more comments?
Um, I don't really have anything.
Okay.
I got a Sharon said that she loved it. Lori gave you a big smiley face.
It's a cute song. I can see one or two other people popping up here. Anything else we've got before we close for today?
Well, Dean said, Michelle, don't tell Rosemary, but I used to sing Oranges and Lemons for my little kids.
Well, it is actually a children's song that we sing in the playground, and yes, and as children, of course, we don't know what the song means. We don't know what it's about. And there are always two kids who stand and make an arch, and then all the other kids have to go through, and we're singing Oranges and Lemons. You think I'm going to succumb, don't you, Dean? But I'm not going to sing it today. And so you go through there, and then at some point you chop off their heads. And we don't want to do that for Christmas. This is a Christmas show, Dean. I'm amazed at you that you're not finding some joyful, joyous, joy to the world, dee 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 dee, and whatever that is. I'm surprised you can't think of something joyful and beautiful for Christmas. So come on. All right. So I think we're done, right, Michelle? So we are done. And this is the end of our Christmas show. If you need to be on our mailing list, please, you have to request. So please email me, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. If you want to be put on the mailing list, put in the subject line mailing list, or healing if you want healing, or a consultation if you want consultation, or whatever else do we do. Oh yes, being notified about our upcoming online workshops that we're going to be doing. So any requests that you have, if you could just put them in the subject line, and then just elaborate a little bit. If you want someone to receive healing, or if you want to receive healing yourself, healing in the subject line. It makes it easier for Michelle, and we can get to you much quicker, much faster when you do that. So that's worth doing. If you want to know more about my books, again, email us, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, or you can go to lulu.com/ Rosemary Altea. You can find all of my books there. We do have a cooking channel. We have to do more on there. We do have a cooking channel, Rosemary Altea, on our cooking channel, which is on YouTube. We do have, of course, more of these shows that we've done. We've been doing it now for 2 years. Again, you can go on YouTube and you can find us there. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. And let me remind Michelle, once we've done this, Michelle is going to post the pictures of her Christmas cake, right, Michelle? I sent you 3 of them, and
yes, I will be posting them
yeah,
today.
and we're going to ignore the phone. Isn't this wonderful? I'd forgotten that she has a house phone because it rarely rings. So I could leap up and just take the receiver off. I know full well that it's going to be a salesman. Don't you hate it when you get those sales calls from everybody? We're going to ignore that. Any more comments or questions before we go, Michelle?
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, New Year's to all. Thanks for a fun show. I love getting people worked up. And the last comment I see on here is I heard that Spirit's time week years is not the same as ours. Is that right?
Yes. Time as we know it here on this earth is completely different than time in the spirit world. It's amazing, really. As you get as you get older, sort of time goes faster, and then as you get really old, then time slows down again. It's an amazing thing, time, isn't it? It's very weird, but it's a very different time in the spirit world is very, very different than it is here. And our life, even if we're lucky enough to live to 100 years old and still be having a brain that's in working order and a body that's in working order, which some people do, even that is, in terms of time and in terms of time through the universe, it is a blink of an eye. Christmas will be gone in the blink of an eye. We've got a week, I think, 7 days or something to Christmas Day. We always do Christmas Day, and then we have Boxing Day, which is very important to us, and then of course then there's the New Year. This holiday, this time, whether you celebrate Hanukkah, whether you celebrate Christmas, or if you just simply don't have a particular reason to celebrate life, because life is worth celebrating. So whatever your celebration is, it will go in the blink of an eye, and all of a sudden we'll be into the new year, and then the next thing you know, we'll be planning for the summer, and then the next thing you know, and on it goes. Life goes fast. Make the most of every day. Please make the most of every day. Hold your loved ones close to you. Tell them you love them every day. I tell my daughter and my grandson several times a day. Even when I'm not here, I'll tell them on the phone, or one way or another, I will let them know. Please, 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 don't hold back your emotions. Tell the ones you love that you love them, and don't be shy about doing that. Christmas is a time for showing that love and that joy, but I think every single day of the year is the same. It is a time for love and for joy. So for all of you out there who are celebrating with me and celebrating Christmas, please, please, please have a very wonderful and a very, very blessed Christmas time. Enjoy your holidays, or enjoy just every day that you have. Enjoy it, be grateful for it, and try, if you can, as hard as it can sometimes be for people, try if you can to smile at a stranger in the store. Be joyful, have a smile on your face, find the joy in life, and please, please, please enjoy this wonderful, wonderful time. I shall be back not next week, but the week after. We will be doing, I think, our Everything is Attitude show. We're going to be talking about joy in the world. I don't know what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about all sorts of things. That will be 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, which is Friday. And until then, until I see you again, whenever that is, keep watching Facebook, keep watching YouTube. We'll let you know. Put yourselves on our email list. We'll definitely let you know. And until then, please, 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 please have peace and joy in your hearts, and have a very, very wonderful and a blessed, blessed holiday. And thank you, Michelle. Thank you to Grey Eagle. And that's it. We're done. Do I have to now click on this thing, Michelle? I think I do, don't I?
It's the
Is it the
top one, I think.
Okay. So, all right. Have a blessed day, everyone.